There's different speaking points?
Yeah, there's different ones.
Each month they give us a new one, but I haven't had one for July. They're probably like, you don't sell anything. So,
and this is why we're live. Is Russo is just a pain in the ass.
I know.
He's up. It's my dude, Russo. What's up, babe?
What up, guys?
Man,
Russo is rocking the tank tops, even though we probably don't want to see it.
We're probably
what do you mean you don't want to see?
We're gonna get a strike.
This?
We're gonna get a strike for explicit content.
I want to ask forgiveness to all of the people in the comments on all the platforms. I had nothing to do with what Russo has on.
See, these are called hater blockers, right here, and I can't even hear all three of you right now.
So we're just gonna get this started because he has a bunch of hater blockers on.
Stunner shades.
It's all good, baby.
Can you guys share this out for gosh sakes? I mean, if we look around, so Prather's getting the same thing as we are over here. But as you guys see, when you hit share from Facebook, you get the whole big fat, this page shares misinformation, which is false. That's actually the misinformation part. So Facebook share it, YouTube share it. And I've got great news for you. This episode, I get to just sit back and comment. Kaecey is running the ship, which means it might not be the best episode to share. So.
Well, you can blame that on me, but it's more of what you're wearing or lack thereof. So
can you even concentrate right now on what you're supposed to do, Kaecey?
No, I don't. I am really confused.
I have
that. Well, as we know, we have LaDale with us again.
Really? He's already got people. He's already got people beeping at him.
Because I'm so hot.
Hey y'all, what's up with you, baby? This show has gotten so much better because you see me. You are welcome. You can move on now.
I know that's right.
I felt like that was inclusion training. Like we have the black guy on the panel. I see you, LaDale. I see you.
I don't need to be seen. I'm already sown, baby. Look at me. The song, baby. Take the picture.
How is it going for you, Mo? We're going to get to Russo last. We don't worry about him.
Yeah, well, he's not even supposed to really. I mean, everybody can see how he's doing. I mean, he's just obviously feeling himself right now, and we'll just leave it there. So, it's been good. It's been a crazy week, but I've been super busy. And yeah, that's all I can really say, because if I told you what was going on, I'd probably have to kill every single one of you. It's that serious.
She ain't lying.
Let's not do that. Let's not.
Please don't do that. I like my life. Go ahead.
Yes. So anyways, but you guys know where to find me. All my links are down, or all of our links are down below. I believe I'll check that really quick. So if you guys want to subscribe to any one of us, they're down below in the description box. I want to remind, I look baked, Matthew. What the hell? I want to remind everybody, and Matthew's one of those people that's over there on Truth Will Set You Free. Move over to Be the Change. Kaecey's going to put the link in there in the message there.
Sure.
Because we're going to turn that off, and you guys aren't going to be able to watch the show. I'll move over to Be the Change. And Soonie's on vacation.
She is. We don't. Susu, we miss you, baby girl. Turn up for me.
Yeah.
Where do we even know where she's on vacation, or is this kind of similar top secret to like what's going on in your life?
It's top secret because she really doesn't want like anybody knowing what she's doing. So
probably smart. Yeah.
Yes, very smart. I don't blame her. I would do the same thing. I'm grabbing the link. I forgot to grab that beforehand. But Russo, if you want to, what's up in your world looking all beefy and trying to look like...
Is that a compliment?
No, it's not, because you look like you trying to be on Jersey Shore.
Well, today... So I had to... I just came from the gym. Today's Get Tough Tuesday. I do the whole Murph every Tuesday. So I'm training so that by Memorial Day of next year, I could do a full Murph with the actual suit on. If you don't know what the Murph is, people do it on Memorial Day. You do a mile run, and then you do 100 push-ups. 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, and 300 body squats, and another mile. Let's go. Anyways, the only thing that's going on in my world that's big this week, make sure you're watching the Chad Prather show tomorrow. I know Mo's going to keep me company there. Kelly's going to be there as well. Not on camera. I mean, maybe Mo will be. I don't know. But we've got the Prather show tomorrow. I'll be up at the Blaze Studios. So make sure you're watching on his YouTube tomorrow night. I'll make sure to post it on our pages.
For sure. Tell Glenn I said, what it do, baby?
What it do, baby?
All right, we're going to go ahead and get this going. All right, now we're all here. Episode 105. We're going to go ahead and get this going. And we're going to start it off with Uvalde. However you say it. Uvalde.
Uvalde.
Multiple times.
Uvalde.
Okay. That's showing my whiteness.
Yeah.
But that's
You're
all
very
right.
Latinx. Very Latinx.
We're not going to get into talking about comparing people with tacos, okay?
I knew that was
But no, we wanted to go over a little bit of the video that was released today with Uvalde. We're going to jump right into that. Uvalde, I'm going to mess it up a lot. Share this out. We're going to talk about the new video. Some of it has already been chopped up and really bad, in my opinion. There's 80 minutes of it, 82 technically. And I want to touch on a couple things that I have some notes of. And so we're going to play through a couple of those. There is a 4-minute clip, which I don't want to do because it doesn't actually give the whole picture. So I want to touch on a couple things. We're going to chop it up and just show you. Let me get in here. The part that I find very interesting, and let me share this out. There we go. Full screen. Here we go. So here, this guy, freaking shooter, I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to give him any credit for anything. He's already wrecked the car. And so these two just come out of nowhere, even though at the beginning, if we recall, there were people that approached him before he entered the building. And then there was denial that there was any of that. Were they police officers? What were they? So we have no clue, but clearly there were contact with people coming from the school that walked out his way. And you see here in just a second, they have a reaction like they're getting shot at. And then they run away. But they're walking out as to the car accident, which is interesting. Because that's a natural instinct, right? Like you should. And then here they are running away. Guy falls, all of this stuff. And then if you want to keep going forward, I'm going to skip forward a little bit. He just walks through the field. His accident was over here. This is where he's coming from. Walks around. The part that I find interesting is this is also, you'll see captions down in the bottom a little bit. I'm trying to just spare some time. But he is somehow over here. But then all of a sudden, you'll see the extra video show up of him walking in the door. Oh, shut up. Go away. I hate these warnings. That audio is him shooting through the windows over here, apparently. Supposedly. I'm still questioning some of this. And he comes up. Get in the room! And this is a teacher telling them to get in the room. And they don't. They're still all of the same stuff. Just get in your room, get in your room. You don't see him show up at all. And he enters through this door right here. And you see it show up actually in here. Where is that coming from? Why?
Good question.
I don't understand this. There's so many questions. There's so many questions I have around these videos that I'm like, why didn't this just come out right away? But we'll pause it here in just a second after we show him getting into the building, and then we'll jump into a little bit inside real quick. See, right here. So see where he's at, close to the sidewalk, which is right up to this door that I'm assuming is right here. You see the signs. You have a sign here. You have 3 signs here. You have 3 signs here. You have a sign here, and the sidewalk. Where is he in this video on the left? I have no clue where he is at, because you should see pixels moving. Something. It's not going to be clear.
Are these simultaneous type of views?
They're supposed to be. They're supposed to be.
Okay.
And so that's what I'm questioning is like, what is going on?
If you look really close, Case, I think I figured it out. Because when you said it earlier, I was on my phone. So if you zoom in enough, he is actually dead in line with the door, the dark door. I just zoomed in on my computer. It looks as though it's not an optical illusion. He's actually completely in line with that dark door, and he's wearing all black. So that makes sense. So if you look, there is actually a faint shadow in that door frame.
Okay.
Okay. So
Hey, Kaecey, can you end the
That's just
live
weird.
on Truth Will Set You Free?
Yeah.
I told everybody to get over
Yep.
there. So if you guys want to keep watching this, move over to Be the Change.
If you're on Truth Will Set You Free's YouTube, not the Facebook. If you're on the Truth Will Set You Free YouTube, please move over to either the Be the Change YouTube or Truth Will Set You Free Facebook. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I just posted a link just to make sure. Here we go. Ending.
All right.
Okay, we're good. But anyway, so if you see that, I don't, but cool. I want to get to this part. We're going to jump to where he gets in the school. He walks down and goes into the hallway, of course. Goes down the way, which here's the part that's interesting. Let me turn on audio because I want to point this out. Watch his gun right here. What direction was his gun pointed at?
Can you zoom? You're not able to zoom in on it anymore?
I can't zoom in on that. It's a YouTube video, but let me try.
It's straight. Right now it's straight. I'm zooming
Right now it is straight. Yeah, see, look what it's did. Look what you did for asking for me to zoom.
I'm sorry.
I can't zoom in that area, which is part of my problem, but I did. So if you watch, I'll pause it. Hang on. Right here is you hear the shooting. Watch. Now. His gun is pointed down.
Down.
And you start hearing shots.
Wow, that's interesting.
His gun is pointed down and you start hearing shots. So you hear those doors closing. So it could be a coincidence that a door closed early. Well, it's benefit of the doubt, right? But that is weird.
No, that's gunshots. I'm sorry.
It has to be.
That's gunshots. That's gunshots. That's not a door.
And there's no recoil. I mean, I know he's got a really nice gun. Like that's a 5. Like he's done a lot of work to that gun. So that gun is probably going to be set up where you're not getting a ton of recoil. But there's got to be something. And this guy is not handling his firearm the same way that we saw the shooter and at the Buffalo Tops is very different. This guy does not look like he knows what he's doing with his gun.
Yeah.
So if you look at it, there should be a pretty massive recoil, and you don't see anything. So maybe I mean, benefit of the doubt, sound is maybe not matched up correctly. Maybe it's a second behind. That's possible.
It could be. It could be.
But man, that's weird. That's weird.
Very weird. That's very weird. Very weird. Yeah.
Because look at the kid. The kid actually had a natural reaction down here in the bottom left-hand corner of about a second and a half.
So actually, you know what? Do me one favor. There was a noise beforehand that might have been a door. It also might have been his gun hitting the wall. And
could be.
But the thing is, it doesn't match up with when it hit the wall. So I make you a bet it's just off time. I think it's probably a second behind, is my thought.
Yeah, the fact that he swings it right there.
Yeah, I don't think it matches up. I don't know.
I
think it's off on time.
It looks like he began the shooting and then he brings his gun up.
Maybe.
That's what I kind of see.
But there's no recoil.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't see any recoil. Oh no.
There's no body positioning for firing or any of that in preparation, right? And so he just turns that corner. Let me show you another thing here, which is kind of interesting also. He goes in. These are the officers, but let me point out here. Notice in the 4-minute clip, there's an edit in the top left-hand corner that says they have removed kids yelling and screaming. It doesn't exist in this video. Nothing. And that's what's so weird about all of this. All of these clips, you put them together and you start looking at what we're actually being told and what is being promoted. They're not adding up. Not at all. So let's jump through really quick. 7:45 is when officers start to be seen at the top of the screen up here. You can see it up here by the K. So you see the reflection? That's them moving in the hallway.
Yeah.
Pause it real quick, Kaecey. So real quick, somebody said, let's see, the contact, they muted the sounds of the kids. That was in the shorter video. This is the actual raw video. That's one. Question number 2, we talked about this on side chat. Is that full auto? Absolutely not. No. Full auto sounds so full. You can pull a trigger dang fast. That's what that sounds like. A full automatic is going to literally sound. Yeah. It is a very recognizable sound. So this is not full auto. This is what the Democrats might say is a full auto sound, but that is actually one. I can make that exact same sound with a handgun.
Makes sense.
Yep.
And we're not going to break down the whole video, but I want to just break down a little bit of the whole of it. And most of it is to jump to when the officers got to the door, and then I'll point out a couple other things and we'll move on. But and so just so everybody knows, but let me see here. My next note, 8:09, they get to the door. So we got 10 seconds and then they get to the door.
There they are. Okay.
Keep in mind, the first guy all the way up here, this guy right here, right by the K, he is the chief. He is the master chief, is what he's referred to himself as later in the video that is on recording.
So
to try to get them to open this door.
I brought this up in our chat, but I really want to call out here that y'all remember when this was coming out that the story was these officers were just lollygagging around in the front of the school.
Yes.
As you can see here,
they're not doing that.
Minutes from the time that you heard that 911 call to the time that the shooter entered the school.
Yeah.
Literally minutes, you guys. And they didn't hesitate. They ran down that hallway. So the other thing I want to point out is, remember the story about we couldn't get in the door, and that's why we couldn't get in the school? Remember that?
Yes. And there's going to be a key that I'm going to point out here in just 50 seconds. But yes, I agree with you.
So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cops.
And that's only at this angle. That's not even how many cops are at that far end that came in the door on the far end. There's also a door to the left over here on this other left side, which it comes up later in the video. There's a lot of cops over there too. And a lot of them have handguns and a few of them have rifles. There is no reason why any of them, like this whole group, couldn't go in and take him down.
They should have engaged him.
Yep. So let's go, and I'll show you what bothers me.
Kaecey, before you begin, isn't the precedence when it came to Sandy Hook that whenever there's a shooter, no matter ways that you actually engage the shooter as fast as possible, correct?
I believe so, yes.
So there's two things. Was it Sandy Hook or was it Parkland? Either or. It was engage the shooter as fast as possible, and you do not have to wait for commands. Two things that were changed. But there's something else I was going to say. Oh, so yeah, we were talking about people said they were lollygagging outside. No, they ended up lollygagging inside. That's the problem. So go ahead.
Great. Okay, here we go. They're coordinating, which I understand. But it's coming up here, which is what bothers me. Here it is. What did they just do? They just retreated the entire way. When they were right there at the door, they retreated the entire way. And of course, I'm not going to clip this. I'm going to play a little bit after. They try to make a little bit of a presence going up, but nothing in a dominant presence at all. They retreated entirely. Now, if this guy was shot, the Master Chief, that's this guy right here. He comes up later and opens and knocks on this door about 30 minutes later and asks if they want to come out so they can get them out to safety. And that's how I know his title. He was saying Master Chief, and we could actually hear it. They shouldn't have retreated. No. But let's play this just for a few more minutes, for a few more seconds, and I'll show you so I'm not lying.
Why? So what are you going to do from there?
I have no idea.
I think that they're assuming he's going to come back into the hallway and after he's done with that room instead. But here's the other problem. Like, this just takes common sense by the police officers to think about the fact you guys approach the school minutes after. Have you seen any kids outside? They all have to be in these classrooms. So, correct. I mean, this is just, there is not a single positive thing that can be seen.
There was a report that was already said that there were already 500 kids that were evacuated.
Not when these police officers got there 4 minutes after the shooting started, or how many minutes was it? The police officers outside know that there's kids. They have to realize there's no kids coming out of these parts of the classroom. There's no way. That doesn't.
No, but I think that there were kids already out because remember they had the graduation ceremony that day. So when all this started to happen and they heard the shots, there were a lot of kids already outside. So I guess they got away from the school. I think it was 500 kids. So they thought that the school was empty is what they were reporting allegedly.
Okay. I'll take that. I wouldn't know,
but still here, look at their position 30 minutes into this video, 30 minutes, 26 seconds, right?
So now they got the shield all of a sudden. Wasn't the shield already in the squad car?
The shield came in present on the screen at 24:12.
And it's not a shotgun shield.
But wasn't I understand that, but wasn't the so-called shield wasn't already in the back seat of a squad car?
I'm not sure.
I thought that was brought a little bit later, but what time does that showing up top? It's showing
11:58:26.
So that would be what, 30 minutes after they came in the building or so?
Probably 26 minutes because 28 minutes.
That's enough. That's enough to be a heck of a lot braver at this point. So even if you give them a little bit of carte blanche for what's happened before, the key is realizing from now until when they actually breach the classroom, while they have these, it's not just one shield. I think they've got a couple ballistic shields. How long it takes to get in there.
They pull out a second one about 10 minutes later, and it shows up next to it. But we don't need to worry about the shields per se, but I wanted to show you how they handle this classroom off to the right over here, that door, and there's one child in that classroom, and that's right here. That's what this clip is.
Oh, yeah.
And right here, the Master Chief's going to come up, the other guy that I was telling you about, with the white shirt and the vest, bulletproof vest on. And then that's when the door opens. See here? Come on, guys.
Yeah, good job with the flashlight.
Takes them 10 seconds to clear the room. They clear the room. There's no one else.
It took them 6 seconds to realize they could turn the light on too. That was impressive.
But overall,
what about that kid that like he came out of, it looked like the bathroom on the left hand side, and then he ran back in? What happened to that kid?
I don't know. It doesn't show up. That kid doesn't show up at all. So for the next few minutes, they go through a bunch of other doors, classrooms. You actually hear it in the background. You don't know a whole lot of what's going on. They just stay in the same position. Notice where they're standing and where that classroom is. Still doing nothing, but they outnumber this kid by a lot. They have better rifles than this guy.
How is there no intelligence that is letting them know there's only one shooter? I can see that, somebody doesn't know, but by this time, there should be very obvious that there is one shooter. Even if there is 2 or 3 shooters, you have a whole squad here. And how is there not eyes outside saying there are children still in the classrooms? How is this not communicated?
Exactly. And
the radio issue. My understanding was that there were people at the other end of the hallway, I guess, with some visibility, but they couldn't communicate to these guys that were on this side.
Unreal.
It's ridiculous.
And Ariando, the main guy, didn't have a walkie, from what I understand.
No.
Whatever. How?
Because it was too heavy. It was too heavy on his belt.
Well, he couldn't afford it. He couldn't afford it because he donated too much to Beto and Biden.
We're gonna get to that too heavy part in just a second. Because I got something I gotta make a joke about. But 45-48. So out here, the last thing that I really want to point out. Notice you see a size difference between that vest and that body there? Is that why there's no? Yeah. There's a guy that's twice his size wearing that same size vest.
Wow.
In just a minute. But right here is where you hear them say he's got victims in there.
Yep, heard it.
He's got victims in there.
Heard it.
They knew 45 minutes in or before, and they're still standing. Still standing.
No.
Still standing. Like I back the blue. I love them. I appreciate our police officers, especially our friends Chelly and her husband and all of them. And I have a few friends here in Utah. But come on, man. Like this is a duty thing. Like
and Tracy Gordon's asking why are we watching this? Well, I understand that it can be difficult to hear because I'm pretty sure everybody has children and we don't have to relive this entire thing. Understand that. But it's very important for us to understand exactly what went on so we can begin to hold people accountable to the lack of action. So I understand that this may be hard to hear, but sometimes you have to go through those hard things to get to begin to grow in wisdom and knowledge so that we can then prescribe the right solution.
Not just that, and that is a really great point, LaDale, but when we first watched the initial video that was going around, it was a very short video and there were a lot of things that were clipped out of it. So we thought we'd come on here with the full video so you guys could really see the full picture, because part of the problem is on social media is you see clips of everything and you're not getting the full context of things. And it is important in this case.
Yes.
To see that.
And Lori, I want to respond to this too. And I've said this for a while. I think that part of the big issue is this is Uvalde. This isn't Dallas. This isn't even a town outside of a major city. And I get that. But at the same time, there is a level of responsibility going above and beyond what is small town and what is not. When there are people that are going to armchair quarterback this, that didn't even have a firearm, there's people in that circumstance that could have literally saved the day, and they all chose to fall in line. Maybe this is a symptom of what has happened in the last 2 years with COVID. I don't know, where we just no longer have the ability to step out and be bold and do something different. But I think we're showing that despite that's what this video does, is it takes some of that small town excuse away and say they had plenty of opportunities to do something different.
Well, and I would also say that me, myself, Soonie, as well as Caleb, whatever, to unpack the Uvalde budget for the city, and specifically the law enforcement side. There's an indictment that needs to be indictment as far as when it comes to questioning the city of Uvalde, the city manager, on how they actually were dispersing the funds. I mean, they had $7,500 for annual security training for the entire police department for the entire year. We asked Cedric if that was sufficient. Cedric laughed and said, "Are you serious? That's laughable. That's a terrible budget." But all the money was flowing toward salaries. It was kind of breathtaking to see. I said, "This is really a mismanagement of funds." Who is holding the city manager accountable? A city manager is elected. They are elected. And so my question is, where's the money flowing? Why didn't the Uvalde Police Department have the sufficient training as well as the sufficient equipment? They had to go to the governor of Texas to get a grant to get some additional equipment. That's laughable. That didn't make any sense to me at all. So we got some questions about leadership there.
100%. And that's where I've been saying since the beginning of this is it seems like leadership is missing in this area in some fashion. Whoever is responsible for making some of these decisions, the Master Chief was up there at the front and then retreated and was at the back. Okay, so do we need to question that person? Or do we need to look at who makes these financial decisions to make sure these guys are all properly trained? All of these things need to be evaluated and considered to make sure your city and your area and your community is safe. If you don't, you're going to do what you have today, which is we're just going to move along and hope it is all okay. And that's the problem. I don't want to point fingers at the blue, but we do have to at times just for accountability reasons.
Yes.
Not that they suck or anything like that or defund the police. It's where can we improve? And we have to start talking about that stuff.
That's correct.
All right.
One thing I wanted to show one more. Where is it? The screenshot. You know what? I'm just going to pull it up. I showed it on Facebook. So it was one of the first things when I saw this video. And I was like, you got to be kidding me that this even exists.
And Gail, I agree with you 100%. How do you not go in there? That's the calling. That is the calling. I agree.
Yeah. Are you trying to pull up the video of the guy?
Pull it up right now.
So like while you're pulling that up, like
this guy, shooting hasn't even been completed, and they haven't even terminated the threat, and this guy's worried about going and getting hand sanitizer for his hand.
But I have a question. I do have a question. Because if they don't know at this point, the shooting is not done, the shooter's not dead. Like, would you just be walking kind of carelessly through the hallway, like not knowing that at any moment this guy could shoot down the hallway? Or,
well, it's pretty blocked up down the end of the hallway.
There's enough people in front of him. I would be freely moving around, but hand sanitizer is the last thing on my mind.
Bro's wearing a helmet, military. Kevlar. This is just like I want to know what was going through his head. Why he's like, you know what? I need some hand sanitizer right now.
He looks like an accountant turned commando.
He's like, last week I just took my mask off and I had to come to work for this shit. That's kind of what I feel like happened.
Terrible.
But I guess what I'm saying, and I don't know what's at the end of this hallway, but you see where the shooter goes into the classrooms, right? Like those people that are down there, like to me, like there's something we're not understanding or don't know here. Because to me, this is an emergency situation. You have an active shooter, and these guys look like they're talking about last week's basketball game down there. Like, I don't understand.
And it's not even basketball season.
Well, whatever. Don't get into
No. I think you just figured out something big right there.
Jeez.
No. But you know what I'm saying? Like, let's just say I didn't know this was Uvalde, I would be like, oh, they just got out of a
they're about to arrest a kid that got in a fight with the teacher or something like that.
To me, it looks like it's over at this point. That's what it looks like.
And it hadn't even the actual final shooting had not even begun yet. All right, let's get off this terrible subject.
Yeah, it's so just a few minutes later. I was gonna pull it up, but we could skip it. Just a few minutes later, it was either the officers that ran in there and lit the guy up, or return fire. I don't know. But
I think he lit him up. What was the final time was the one question I had, because again, we've been tracking the timestamp, and then let's get
12:55. I believe. Hang on.
So the first shield, remember the first shield arrived at 11:58. Yeah. And I know that it's not a shotgun shield, but still it's something. Something.
A deterrent, something to get the guy kind of confused, and then someone can come in and take him out. I'm trying to. Now, wasn't there some type of sniper that actually had a shot and didn't take it?
There's something coming from. There was somebody that had some view from outside, I believe, but I don't think they ever had a clear shot, and he couldn't tell how many kids are around. Okay. But the fact is, he knew there was kids in the room, and how that wasn't translated is still mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, and I was incorrect. It looks like it's a little bit earlier than 12:55, but it's around 12:50. If you want to get into that.
So 52 minutes after the. Okay. All right, I think we're good there.
It's ridiculous, is what it is. All right, let's jump into the rest of the stuff. Let me pull that up.
While he's at it, let's go ahead and remember we got some things going on. Temperatures are on the rise, especially in Texas. Gasoline prices, food prices, tensions throughout society, global conflicts, supply chain breakdowns, you name it. Experts say the looming global food crisis will be worse than any other year since World War II. I think we're already there. What should you do? Go to preparewithbtc.com and get long-term emergency food storage from My Patriot Supply. My Patriot Supply is America's largest preparedness company with millions of satisfied customers. Food lasts for up to 25 years. When you need it, it's going to be there. Act quickly. Save. I just realized my face is so low. Anyways, save $150 on a 3-month emergency food kit. You're going to get breakfasts, lunches, dinners, drinks, snacks, totaling over 2,000 calories per day. You're not going to go hungry. Go to preparewithbtc.com. Save $150. And just in case you want that Patriot Supply, and you get to support us by buying from them, because it's the way the affiliate works. Affiliate, fill it. It's like a fillet steak. And lastly, go to Awake Now Store. If you like Kaecey's shirt and LaDale, you're gonna be on Blunt Force discussion soon, so you're gonna get a BFD hat. But we got Awake Not Woke gear. I'm wearing the tank top not just to show off the guns, but to show we have tank tops on the website.
Guns?
Weapons. They are weapons. Sounded like I'm George Bush over here. Weapons of mass destruction. What weapons of mass destruction? Go to awakenotwokestore.com and use the coupon code AWAKE for 15% off. Kaecey, what's up?
It's not really a marketing ploy to use Russo wearing a tank top, but whatever. So the next topic, we wanted to talk about an uprising, and that's nothing in Russo's life. But the uprising that we're talking about is what's going on in China, Netherlands, and all of these countries that people are actually standing up and going against their government or wanting to see some change, not the change that Black Lives Matter does or Pride Movement does during the month of June. So, yeah, Mo, where would you like to start with this one?
Real quick, Kaecey, I got a gut feeling that based on what I'm wearing right now, if we do have any gay viewers watching, that there might be a little bit of an uprising in some of these Netherlands. Okay.
No, that didn't
That
land.
was such a bad joke.
It was horrid. Horrid.
All right.
Oh, how do you want to kick this one off?
We're going to pretend like we didn't hear that. Okay. So I wanted to talk about the uprisings because, first of all, if you Google uprisings around the world, nothing comes up. Why do we think that is, people? Okay, let me just tell you guys what's going on. So we've got Sri Lanka. Okay, what happened in Sri Lanka? I don't know if you guys saw the video. I don't know if Kaecey has the video. But when I first saw this video, I thought it was a joke. Like, I thought it was like a joke. Like, when I saw the amount of people that were coming towards the palace there to invade the palace, there were people in the pool. There were people in the president's bed taking selfies. I mean, they literally did January 6th on steroids.
Cash was there?
Yeah,
Too soon.
Yeah,
too soon.
I mean, you guys, they went wild. Now, understand this. Sri Lanka is a very, very peaceful country, okay? I saw videos of Buddhist monks jumping on top of cars. Nobody there had a weapon, okay? And they overtook that government so quick, it wasn't even funny. Now, why did they do it? Because they had been shut out. Their power had been, they didn't have access to groceries. Look at this.
Wow.
Look at this. So the people finally got fed up. I mean, they're already kind of, living in pretty poor circumstances over there. But I mean, imagine a monk. These Buddhist priests, they're not used to living with anything big. And for them to be doing this, I mean, this is crazy. So I saw this, and then I started seeing that it was also happening in the Netherlands, that the farmers were putting a stop to delivering goods to stores and things like that. Okay, because they were fed up. The president of Italy, Draghi, is under all this. I think his name is Draghi or something like that. Anyways, he's under an immense amount of pressure as well from the Italians. We've got, what's his name? Trudeau in Canada. His people are getting sick and tired of him because he's got one scandal after another. Okay. And it's just crazy to me that we're not talking about this. Now, everybody's consumed right now about what's being found on the Hunter Biden cell phone leak or whatever. But I think this might be a distraction again so that you guys don't pay attention to what the rest of the world is doing. They are waking up, people. We need to wake up. We need to get with them because we should be leading this charge. We should be leading this charge. I'm excited to see it happen everywhere else, but we should be doing the same thing. We have much more power and access to things to be able to let our government know we are not happy. And what is it going to take?
Here's a clip from January 6th. I mean, Sri Lanka.
Look at this.
Oh, no.
Like
who's that at the end? Who was that guy?
Sorry. Oh, no. He's wearing.
Russo, what do you think about this?
I mean, to me, the big deal is the fact that we don't see this anywhere. That you have to. The only way we see it is through the DC Dranos, through the R pages, through all of our social media. The fact that the mainstream media is not covering this is telling that they know how close we are to having that same power and numbers in this country and how big of a threat. And we are a very armed nation. So I think that they're not sharing the Sri Lankas, the Netherlands. And again, they could do the best they can to avoid it. And I mean, Google is in with them. You can't, I was just on DuckDuckGo. I looked up Sri Lanka overthrowing, can't find the same videos. You have to find it through social media. So I think it's telling how terrified our country is, our government is, which is we have become state-sponsored media, to make sure that they do not show what is happening in other countries. And what happened, and somebody asked about Japan, that leader who I believe I heard was going to be rerunning for election. They don't talk about, they talk about his death on mainstream media. They don't talk about the fact that he was about to run again. And apparently he was a good dude. Apparently he was somebody that was going to fight against the machine. And I think what we're seeing right now is the beginning of an us versus them, quote unquote, one world government. You've got the clip of Maxine Waters that could not say socialism in her thing. She's like, it's like what we need is social, and everybody in the room froze. They're like, what is she going to say? It's scary because they know what they're trying to do, because it keeps the Democratic side. It keeps the rhinos and the Democrats in power to make sure that this one world structure is there. And if we get wind of what's happening across the world, not just the people that are awake, but even the woke, it gets very scary for those in power.
Yeah.
And I want Kaecey to give, because I don't know enough about it, but the thing that happened in China, Kaecey, where they shut down the banks.
Yeah, I was going to get into that, but I wanted to get LaDale's point because it's going to kind of all go together with when we start talking about the United States and the financial situation here, that you have what's going on in China. Just to kind of allude to a little bit of it, they closed down banks. You couldn't withdraw money. You couldn't do things in China. So LaDale, what do you think about all of this, and how is it going to lead into America?
Well, I'm not surprised that it's happening. That is normal. Whenever, what kind of determines the value of currencies around the world are the actual citizens itself, because we're dealing with a fiat currency. Now, fiat currency, there's been thousands upon thousands of fiat currencies throughout history, and they have a 100% failure rate. Let me say it again for the folk in the back row. It has 100%.
Wait, you're supposed to say that end quote before you repeat.
End quote.
End quote. End quote. It is what it is. So what I would say is this here is if you have a lot of your wealth tied up in the currency called the dollar or any other currency, I would advise you to begin to put it into an environment that actually is more protected. Number one, and you actually make a higher yield. Now, I'm not going to go into that. How much money you can actually make. That's not part of this discussion. What I'm trying to say is this here: you best believe that what's happening in Sri Lanka, what's happening in the Netherlands, don't be surprised if that shows up here in America. Because now what's happening is you're seeing a lot of civil unrest. People are beginning to lose faith and confidence in our government. If you look at all of these polls, the Congress is at all-time low. The president, come on, let's stop playing this game. He's at all-time low. There's a faith type of scenario going on concerning the citizenry, and we determine how much the value of the currency is. It's extremely simple. So that's why you're here. That's why a lot of this stuff that you're seeing is being withheld from you. You can't find it on DuckDuckGo. You definitely can't find it on Google. You have to find it through these social media platforms, and even that's being sheltered. Why? It affects the faith behind the government, because if you read the dollar, it says backed by the full faith of the federal government. The key word there is faith. What's driving the faith? You. So let me say it again before I end. If your currency, if your wealth is tied up in currency, i.e. a 401k, an IRA, a Roth IRA, or 403b, pick an account, a CD, whatever. You better begin to widen the circle, invite in some wise counsel, and move that money over to a more protective and higher yield environment so that when this turns, and it will turn, you are protected. Very simple.
You said something interesting yesterday, LaDale, when I asked you, like, when I said, hey, do you think that could happen here? And you said yes, and it will be by design on purpose.
Yes.
And I said, why? And you said...
Well, if you actually look at how currency is actually made, what's happening is I actually did a video on this. I'm going to release it tomorrow. Is whenever money is created, guys, a bond is created. A bond is just a glorified IOU. That's all that is. So you actually have the Federal Reserve Bank, which is not federal. It has no reserves. It's not a bank. Hello. What happens is that they take that IOU called a bond, and they go to the Treasury, and the Treasury gives another IOU called a check that has no money behind it. It's called a bad check. If you write a bad check, you're going to jail for fraud. If they do it, money's created. And guess who's in the middle? The banks. So yeah, the banks involved in this entire scenario. Now, why is this a design? Just simple economic principles. Inflation just means there's too much currency flowing to too few goods. They printed out $1.7 trillion for COVID. That was back in 2021. They haven't spent it yet. And they want to print more money. Do you see what's going on? 40% of the currency of the United States has been printed in the last 24 months. 40% of our country's currency, and this is the history of the United States. So by economic design, it's going to fail. So now you hear a lot of the language talking about a new currency, a new normal, and they've been attacking a lot of the cryptocurrency. If you look at Canada actually, I believe earlier this week attacked cryptocurrency. Why? It's a part of the Great Reset design. They're trying to create a new currency with more controls to graduate you over to. But you best believe they're going to print as much money as they can to make more money as the players can before they graduate it over. That's why I'm saying, if you have a lot of currency, a lot of your wealth is built in currency, you better put it behind something tangible, because the shift, it's here and it's coming.
So, LaDale, a quick question for you. So, and I know somebody asked what you would invest in right now, and I know diversifying is a big thing. Before you get into it, you own a lot of apartment buildings. I know that. I've followed what you do a lot, and I love the way you talk about money. So I think this is the first time that I have, based on what we're seeing in Sri Lanka, what we're seeing in the Netherlands, and when you think about an uprising, if an uprising gets serious enough, the one thing that we always say is, well, apartment buildings, they collect rent, they're tangible, they're always stable. if the government is starting to be overthrown, people aren't going to be paying their bills. So do you, and actually in some ways our government bailed out people that were overdue on their rent last year because, you know, all these different things. So it actually hurt the small business owner that owned rental properties. Do you see this as a risk?
Anything you do is a risk. It's how you actually mitigate the risk. Just like if you have all of your wealth in a currency, a fiat currency, that's extremely risky. If all you have is just stocks, extremely risky. If you have real estate, it's risky. Gold and silver, it's risky. How do you begin to mitigate that risk? It's very simple. What I kind of look at is you can't manipulate land. You can't do that. People are going to need some place to live all the time. So let's just say, for instance, Armageddon happens and people begin to kind of get into their neighborhood clusters. Well, people are going to need a place to live, right? So wouldn't it be wise for you to actually own all the places that live?
No, absolutely.
You can begin to negotiate how an exchange of currency, or if it may be a currency, or exchange of goods and services. The person that actually owns the land controls everything. Why do you think the government actually plays? Why do you think the federal government forces you to pay property taxes? Why? Because they control the land. It's extremely simple.
Which therefore, I'll end my rabbit hole question on this one, because I do think at the end of this, when there is chaos in a country that does have a lot of guns, it's going to be the homeowner, or not the homeowner, but the property owner that has a lot of guns, because there's going to be guns to say, you know what, screw you, I'm not paying for my rent. I really do think that we are looking at a dystopian future if things don't straighten up really, 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 really fast. And I got to give 2 shout outs because Soonie thinks we're ignoring her because of equal opportunity. Soonie, I see your comments. We see you, Hot Mike. Hello.
What's up, baby?
And Kelly, you know you like it. You know you like it.
Kelly, we know you don't, Kelly. It's okay, baby. We in the same thing. We good.
You can be real with Soonie. She doesn't know how to use the internet, so that's all right.
Bring it, Kelly.
No, but when it comes to what you guys are talking about, 100%. So like the big thing that we're looking at here, and LaDale, this is going to be a little bit for you. We talked about beforehand, but with China, they shut down banks. We did that in what? Just before the Great Depression. Banks closed their doors. You couldn't get access to your money, all of that stuff. China just barely went through that. And everybody keeps using the excuses of, well, you have ATMs, you have all of these things, and you have access to your bank accounts. Do you think that still could come here?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think that would be the moment where people here would freak out?
Yes.
Like that would be the final straw for people?
Well, I saw the crypto people freak out this last week because Coinbase changed their, not just Coinbase, many of them changed their regulations where if they go bankrupt, they don't owe you anything. So there's people that have millions of dollars in their crypto wallets, and if they don't have them in cold storage, guess what? If Coinbase goes under or crypto.com goes under, all of it gone. Even if there's still a value in Bitcoin, even if Bitcoin's still $15,000 or $20,000, it's gone.
If you could, Kaecey, there's a comment by Jeanette Nolan Dickerson. She asked me a question. This says, LaDale, what are your thoughts on the timeline? And it just vanished. There we go. Timeline when we people are going to see the changes and accept that it's factual. That's a great question, Jeanette, but a tough question to answer because this whole thing's governed by faith. It really depends on how much faith the people have in the government and the system. So the only person that answered that question is you.
Yeah, absolutely. And the main thing is I've said this a few times in the past when we start talking financially, and I brought it up last time with the LaDale. On his live when he was actually doing a live going over financial stuff. I think the downturn was when we implemented the Federal Reserve. So just over 100 and what? We're at 109 years ago. Yeah, it's a very long time, and that is when our financial system became under control of people with just being able to click a button and make things go away. And it's scary.
I hate to go biblical, but the Bible does say the love of money is the root of all evil. The love of money. And it also says there's 2 masters, God and money. And money only became a master when God said it was a master. And so it's up for you to begin to actually master one of the masters called money, so that when things actually change, you could be on the top and not the bottom. I think right now is an exciting time for those that are properly prepared, because there's a correction coming. I would not be surprised, guys, if in 12 to 18 months that interest rates be over 10%. I would not be surprised.
I listened to an interesting bit, by the way, on there was somebody talking. I can't remember what show I was listening to. Might have been Joe Rogan, but somebody was talking about the backing of the financial system, and if the Biden administration actually cares about us, we should see rates at 10% and 11%. Because they're going to have to keep screwing us. And I the way I heard it, they're going to have to keep screwing us over so that we can actually get back. Because if we try to put a Band-Aid on right now, it's just going to send us into a 10-year spiral. I don't know how you feel about that, but it made a lot of sense. And I'm going to go in and out because I think my internet's slowed. So
I agree with a lot of that. People have been telling me 12 to 18 months, 10 months. Jeanette only says 4 months. I like Jeanette, 4 months, which is fine. That's up for debate. What's going on right now is whenever they actually raise the interest rates, they're trying to burn the excess cash. There's two problems with that whole sentiment. Number one, they're not raising the rate fast enough, so there's not burning any cash at all. And number two, these fools want to print more money. So you're gonna have to really curtail the spending, operate by a certain budget, and raise the rates to be able to burn off the excess cash. But unfortunately, we have political vote getters called politicians. They don't have any discipline at all to do any of those things at all. So 10%, I'm going to say about 12%, 13%.
Ah,
yes.
Yeah, that's significant. Yeah, I think overall, when it comes to this whole thing, it scares me, and I do like that all of the other countries are standing up and are fighting for them what they believe in. Seeing China actually turning things off, we mirrored China during COVID. We mirrored all of their practices during COVID, lockdowns and all of the above. It freaks me out, and that's what makes me wonder: are we getting to that point? And so, I definitely don't want my money in the banks. A lot of my money in the banks, at least.
Nah.
But we'll jump on to it.
I'll end with this, Kaecey. This is what I kind of do, guys.
Okay.
Is whenever I make a lot of money, guys, my money does go to the bank initially, because that's how we transfer cash. Immediately, that money goes to a life insurance policy. I want it out of the bank environment, my personal money.
Right. But
then I borrow from the life insurance company and put it back in the bank. Now, the key thing is my money is already in life insurance policy. It doesn't move. I just borrow the life insurance's money and put it into the bank. Now, watch this. When you actually go and put money into the bank, guess who does the exact same thing? The bank. Let's copy them. Simple.
Right. Agreed. And you and I need to connect more on that, on the life insurance stuff.
Let's get it.
All right. We're going to jump into, we have a special appearance from someone because someone has some goofy ass glasses. And she really wants
to what's up, baby?
I'm just here to protest Russo and those god-awful glasses, man.
Yay! Thanks. It's terrible looking.
He's really feeling himself, Soonie. We've been dealing with this since.
You look like what's that wrestler? What's the wrestler?
Macho Man Randy Savage?
Why you gotta make fun of someone that's dead? That's not
the living legend.
Yeah, it's all good.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was kind of Hulk Hogan too.
That was pretty bad.
Yeah. That's not my. I don't know if I've ever done a Macho Man. Oh no, how can you do Macho Man? I got to think about
Macho.
Macho Man. You mean Macho Man?
I said macho. Did I say Macho?
You said Macho.
I'm still trying to get the voice.
Honor that man.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not gonna do it.
I'm gonna be in Dallas. I'll see you guys.
All right. She looks like a ninja with the mask on.
She does.
Right?
God,
wait a minute. Soonie.
That's ironic. She's wearing an unvaccinated Lives Matter shirt with a mask on. What kind of compliance bullshit is that?
Where
Because
are
I'm in
you?
another country, all right? I can't be a spoiled ass
Oh.
American that's like, ooh, I'm gonna wear my mask. I'm not going to jail for that
I thought you
shit.
were. I thought you were at the final destination. I was gonna say the same thing. I'm like, we don't have to wear masks anymore. You're
No,
good.
I'll be in Dallas though. I'll see you guys.
All right.
You're gonna be in D-Town? Come holler at your partner.
You really are gonna be in Dallas?
Yeah.
Make your day better by seeing me. Come
Wait,
on, give it in your
I
partner.
got you.
When?
Oh Jesus!
I'll message you guys though.
She gonna
Russo,
message us.
please never wear that again, man. Okay?
Thank
Get
you.
out of the chat.
Now, he's gonna wear it again just for you. Now, he's gonna
Oh
get it for you.
Jesus!
That's what he's gonna
Russo
do.
needs help. Russo
Yeah,
needs
no,
some help.
that's
But
without effect.
thank
Speaking
you,
of that,
Soonie, for backing us all up.
before we
Yes.
go to the next, and we trust Sooni's taste all of a sudden. Before we
No,
go to the
I said
next,
backing us all up. Should get 4 versus 1 instead of 3.
I don't mind being the minority. Before we go to the next topic, make sure you guys have checked out Mo and I's clip from last week on Blunt Force Discussion. We did a full hour and a half, talked about body positivity, mental health, talked about politics, obviously, and then she waxed half of my back at the end. It was pretty fun.
Oh
So,
yeah.
yeah.
They didn't know that.
You know what I found funny is I totally forgot about the 15 old women, Mo, that passed by with their walkers at the end. That was hilarious.
Oh, wow.
I forgot all about that. Yeah.
If you guys want to hear Russo scream, I'm dropping the link in the description box right now, or not the description box, in the chat. If you want to hear Russo scream, I mount him from the back and wax him.
Like a little punk. No play. No play. That's my dude, baby. My dude Russo.
I liked it so much that I took the rest of it home and I did my bikini. So
Jesus.
Man, that is not too much information, brother. Let that go.
Yeah. I was gonna say I the only thing I was disappointed in is I was expecting Kelly Clarkson, but we got none of that. You're a jerk.
I was about to say, Soonie Blanks.
I'm sorry, Soonie.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump on to the next one. Who wants to take Hunter's phone and the leaks coming from that?
There's so much.
Y'all. I'll begin this. I'm beginning like this here. I am still waiting for someone to take that dude to jail. I'm just trying to figure out. I mean, they just made up pseudo event after pseudo event after pseudo event on the Trump kids.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the stretching was. I mean, it was like they were Stretchman Armstrong with all the stretching they were doing on all these conspiracy theories. But we got this treasure trove of. I'm trying to figure out. Anybody gonna show up and ask some questions?
Right.
Trump Jr. literally on an interview looked like he had a lot of energy and went like this. And they're like, oh my God, cocaine addict, Donald Trump Jr. And now you actually have, you've got enough. All right. What I love is when they show the clip of Joe Biden talking about what a quarter size amount of crack cocaine will get you at least 5 years, no chance of probation. There is enough crack in that one video from a guy that I don't know didn't get the memo. You don't have to record everything illegal you do in your life.
That's the dumbest,
right?
Now, why would you put that on the camera?
Walking naked on the beach, okay? Like, why?
And talking about my pants fell down. I don't want to know that.
I mean, there's so much, and the crazy part is right now, it really isn't what's on there. What's on there is disgusting. And the fact that allegedly, if you look at it, there's no way to think that some of these girls might not be a little too young. There's no way to, there's even the way that they talk to their family members, the way that he called Jill Biden to see you next Tuesday in tech. Like it's disgusting. And it's also that there's the thing that's the biggest issue on top of all these other issues that show why he runs the country the way he does, because he couldn't run his own family. The biggest issue is it's blatantly proving that he was lying, that he never talked about business dealings with his son. These are overseas entities. These are China. These are foreign superpowers that can be deemed enemies. I think this, if not anything else, is actual grounds for real impeachment. And instead of it being a smoking gun that never actually fired a weapon, these literally have audio recordings and clips that are evidence. This is mind-boggling. I don't understand.
And they've had this for what, 2 years? The FBI has?
Well, okay, so this is separate from the laptop.
This is the
now,
cloud.
Okay?
This is
so
the
this
cloud.
is so the laptop
okay.
was one thing, and there was a lot of stuff on the laptop that was probably repeats from what we're seeing now. But somebody hacked his entire iCloud. So when they hack your iCloud, they can get to all your devices that you've ever had that download pictures onto that iCloud. And you guys, did you see? I posted it that like there was something about, you know, he was clearly having some type of relationship with his niece Natalie, who is the daughter. Yes. There's something there.
She's got the tattoo with a heart, like at least a drawn tattoo with the heart of Hunter. And this is when she was really young. And is that the daughter of the woman of Bo's ex-wife? So that means that he was banging Bo's ex-wife, the widowed wife, and banging her and then hooking up with her daughter, which is his niece.
Yeah. Now, in the book, The Laptop from Hell, they talk about the falling out that him and her have over something, but they never said in the book what it was. So I'm assuming, because what I found posted was that he supposedly got Natalie pregnant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It's just, I'm trying to, can I let you guys know what's really happening? In my opinion, they've known this has been out here for a long period of time, and we know that we have a elderly abused man as our president. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Yeah, he needs to go home and drink his soup and rock himself to sleep, which is fine. What they're doing is that they're trying to stretch this out as long as they can until November. I believe that they're going to get shellacked, and they're beginning to phase him out. But the thing about it is they're like, where the hell are we going to go? Because of the fact that Kamala ain't no better. I mean, she's the worst vice president I've ever seen in my life. She can't even talk. How was she a former attorney general of California? How? Like the credentials of these people or
you know how, LaDale. You know how, LaDale.
I know how. I'm just saying. I'm just saying the intellect that doesn't match the credentials. It doesn't make no sense to me at all. But when it comes to politics, you actually fail forward. That's what they do. No problem.
Can I bring in leftist logic? First off, I'm going to answer this question. There is some stuff that looked like it could have been related to Malia Obama, but that is speculation. There's a credit card that if it was zoomed in had her name on it. Again, that one's wild speculation. But here's leftist logic, because we just provided all the different things are actually concrete in this iCloud that's been shared, and we are getting, is this speculation hour?
Oh, geez.
Can you show some of the stuff? Show some of the stuff.
Is that my dude Grant, the one I smashed last time?
It's
What a dude, G Money. How you doing? You back for some round two?
He's our biggest fan.
That's my dude Grant, man. That's my dude Grant. Keep him coming, Doc. We keep smashing her. Come on, get it in with us.
So you know who else kept smashing it? Hunter Biden. Whether it was the crack pipe or whether it was young women. I'm not going to say under.
You're mixing up smashing and snorting.
That's the other thing. We're all of a sudden we're also ignoring, because we're like, he slept with there's a bunch of prostitutes. We're talking about the crack being illegal. He's sleeping with prostitutes on camera. Like there are so many laws being broken. Or there's also the one with the gun. He's brandishing a firearm, which again, it's not in public. So I guess that's, well, you know what? Your videotape, it's actually not against the law. But you know what is against the law? Getting a firearm when you've been under the influence of drugs over the last several months. So therefore you lied on your ability. And there's also the one thing that I've also heard is there's conversations about how many firearms him and Joey Basements actually own. Coming from the guy that's anti-firearm.
Oh yeah, and Grant, brother, thanks for coming back again, Pippin. I'll go ahead and address you real fast, man. As you just again lied again. It's interesting how you just like fabricate facts. It's all good. You said that you brought up gas, and I went silent. We actually have video that can disprove that very simple, but I'll just replay it again because I asked you a question. I said, how much? If you said that they're price gouging, how much money does this gas stations actually make? the percentage. You went solid. I said 15%. Most of the money that made a gas station is on the drinks and the foods within the gas station. So how is 15% price gouging? And your answer is you went solid again, Grant. My man.
Hey,
Speaking
of that, you guys. So I have been reading on. I don't mean to deter the subject, but really quick on gas. So I have been reading that all these like racetracks and like quick trips have been closing down because they don't have enough gas, or they're shutting down their gas pumps. I don't know if anybody in the Dallas area has experienced this, but I went to 2 of them today just to see, and they were shut down, the gas pumps.
Really?
Yeah.
Weird.
Mm-hmm.
What I was gonna say something about Grant. I can't remember. Oh, so you know what because I know we're not gonna be able to make Stelter jokes forever because Stelter might no longer be there. Did you know Stelter's under 40 years old? By the way, I couldn't believe that.
Yes.
I picture Grant Bull being at home. I have like a Grant Stelter kind of look to him, and he just watches right-wing TV with his pants down and just like, and I was gonna say does this, but I actually think he probably wedges something in the backside while I'm just like milking his prostate to right-wing politics is what I picture.
So
and
gross.
I'm picturing Stelter.
Grant has already received too much attention. Come on.
Yeah.
He has. He's talking these two. He's trying to compare 2022 to 2021, and you're saying that in 2022 they actually made more money. See, facts. In 2021, we were coming out of the pandemic. So were people actually traveling? The answer was no. So therefore, the demand was low, which means the revenue was low. Well, in 2022, guess what happening? People began to travel more. So that means the demand goes up, which means more revenue comes in. You see, supply and demand. Try again, Grant.
Actually, and I'm going to piggyback on you, LaDale, because it's more than that. It's not just the supply and demand, which, as we know, it also has a lot to do with speculation. But it also, as LaDale said, it's 15% markup. And you know what happens? Do you know what happens when gas prices double? That 15% grows. I don't know how to explain that to you. So 15% of $4 is a hell of a lot more than 15% of $2. And do you know how much more that is? That's 100% more. And
it's called math.
I love how everybody
think about
thinks
it.
Grant is Mitch.
Right. Well, and think about it. When it comes to these gas companies, they were taking losses in 2021 when that wasn't normal for them. They don't have that type of environment, and so they're going to need to recoup some of those funds. So what do? Increase a little bit of their prices. So that it's a natural reaction.
You remember when when gas prices were at like zero, they were almost negative. He was actually taking gas off of other countries' hands to build our federal stockpiler. And here we are giving it away to other countries.
Grant, come back to me when you talk about Pfizer and Moderna and J&J's profits, and then we'll have a conversation.
And also, Grant, lastly, brother, man, it's called reading the book, brother. Hey man, put down the PlayStation, put down the Wii's, and just read a damn book.
It's tell him to put down the weed. It might help him.
Wii's.
The
Wii.
I know. I'm kidding.
You know what else he uses the thing for the Wii? Okay, moving on. What's the next topic?
Moving on to the guy that Grant voted for. Let's go ahead and just hear how he handled our speech.
How is that a whataboutism? He doesn't even know what whataboutism is. All right, go ahead.
Noteworthy that the percentage of women who registered to vote and cast a ballot is consistently higher than the percentage of the men who do so. End of quote. Repeat the line. Women are not without electoral and or political or maybe precise, not and or political power.
So Kamala's in the background, like going like, when do I get to be
America
president?
Can determine the outcome of this issue. I don't think the court, or for that matter, Republicans.
Man, this is elderly Bruce.
Embarrassing.
Man. This is we went from falling up the stairs to Air Force One twice, and in all of the gaffes, falling asleep at international meeting, falling asleep,
pooping his pants at the Vatican,
and I'm like, allegedly, not a problem. Falling off bikes. Okay, and this is the
shaking magic hands.
Yeah. This man, this is bad. This is
But
laughable.
wait, but LaDale, do you remember when Trump's hand shook when he had the glass of water? His hand shook. His hand shook.
Or he had to walk very carefully down a slippery slide, and they were concerned with his mental condition.
Yeah.
I mean, this is why when Soonie had a problem with us laughing about him falling off that bike, I'm like, what does it matter? Every day this guy is doing something like ridiculous that we could laugh at. Like the bike is no big deal. To me, like this type of thing is crazy.
Repeat the line.
Repeat the line.
Apparently he said, what was the thing he said before repeat the line? He said end of quote. Apparently he said end of quote another 2 times during that speech.
He did. I don't know about 2 times, but I know it came up again. And then he also, just at the end of this clip, which bothers me, I got to go and find another one. So this was it, but he says something very similar to that, and it's like, what in the world, dude?
So watch it. Say, Grant, I'm assuming that you were probably saying that Trump was looking old coming down the ramp. I disagree with you, but I give you that. Are you willing to say that our current president is a train wreck too?
Say it, Grant.
With all those gaps.
Hey,
Pedo Pete or whatever his name is.
Can we be honest and say that?
Russo, you need to make a shirt that is like Biden saying Biden is not my president, and then Trump saying repeat the line.
Repeat the line. That's a good one. Oh, okay. All right, Grant. You hate my man. Okay. We good, Grant.
He sucks too. There we go.
My man, Cheap Money. My dude, baby.
He's moving.
That's my dude.
You know who else sucks too? His niece, his own penis. That's the weird part. That's the super weird part.
Grant,
there's
who
video
of it.
Grant? There's video of it. It's not alleged. It's not alleged. Okay.
Who do you want to see in 2024, Grant? He's going to say Bernie Sanders.
Do we even want to ask him?
He's going to say Bernie Sanders.
Probably. I'm sure.
Bernie Sanders, if he wins, guys, he's really going into the depression. Oh, my God.
When it comes to Joe Biden and all of these mental things, do you guys think he will make it to 2024?
No.
It's like his own party doesn't even have faith in him anymore. They're concerned about his mental state.
29% approval rate for the nation. 29%.
Even less for the Latinx.
The tacos, the breakfast tacos.
Yeah.
What did she even said? Bogeda. She is
she said Bogota.
For a woman that is supposedly in academia, she is just as incompetent as I expected.
I mean, my. Now, who do you guys think should run in 2024 for the Republican Party?
Everybody knows who I like.
Who do you like, Russo?
Anybody? I'll let you guys. Well, I know.
He wants Ron Paul or DeSantis.
I'm a Rand Paul guy.
Excuse me, Rand Paul.
I'm a Rand Paul and DeSantis guy.
That one, he will not win. Unfortunately, sorry.
I know he's not electable. I get it. That's the problem. But he's my favorite. I'd like to see him in a vice presidential role.
Who should run? I know who you want. Who should run, Russo?
DeSantis, I think, should run. I've got big issues with Trump. And there's a train coming, so I'm going to go on mute while you guys talk about it.
Okay. Mo, or who do you think should run?
I do like Rand Paul. There are parts of DeSantis that I like, and there's parts that I don't. I don't want to see. I hope Trump doesn't run, but if he is our only option, which I couldn't see that really happening, I will vote for him. So there's that.
Okay. What about you, Kaecey?
My big thing is right now there needs to be a solid candidate, and they can't be a traditional politician. So someone that's not existing. I would like to see
like Trump was when he came in.
Well, Trump has ties and has been tied to a lot of politicians in the past, so I wasn't happy with that either. That's why I didn't vote for him both times. But I like Spike Cohen from the Libertarian side. I really like. There's a couple other guys from the Libertarian side that have no credibility in the world, but I don't even know if they're going to run. Spike Cohen sounds like he's backing out. He was just on Tim Pool, and sounds like he's not going to run ever. He's not going to run again. So we're going to have to see what other options we have to choose from. but I want people that have not been existing politicians.
That's going to be tough for the presidency. And before LaDale, before you go, I would also, because Train's gone.
Yeah.
I also do like. I mean, I'm going to get crap for this because I know her stance on guns isn't perfect, but I am a fan of. All of a sudden, just did a Biden on her name. What's her name? Tulsi Gabbard. Sorry, I do like Tulsi. I'd like to see a cross. I don't think she'll run as a Democrat. So. And I'm not tied to one party. I just the Democratic Party is no longer the Democratic Party, so that there's no way to actually vote for them. Yeah.
Who voted for Obama here? I voted for Obama.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. 2008.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, I'm not tied to a party at all. I voted for Obama, and I was like happy about it. I was like, hey, this guy sounds and looks good. I liked him, and then I didn't like him.
I mean, I voted for him because he was the first black president, and I got involved with the hoopla. I literally voted for him, and I said, "Now, why did I vote for him again?"
Right.
I had no clue.
Right.
No clue.
Yeah. And I honestly, I would not have. I didn't vote for Romney. I couldn't. Like I was in the process of my shifting over of political parties at the time, but I just hated Romney, and it turns out everything I thought was pretty much correct because he is the bottom of the barrel on the Republican side.
Absolutely.
Sure. So LaDale, who you got?
Woo. I'm gonna preface my statement by saying this here. I think things are going to get so bad. We need a builder because their goal is to destroy this entire thing. It's going to get very bad, and they're trying to use the administrative state because they get resistance from the other legislative branches. And so I would say I would be okay with a Trump DeSantis ticket. I don't think that'll happen. I really think that DeSantis should run versus Trump. Trump is more powerful outside of politics, but I think Trump is too egotistical, and he's going to want to run because I really believe it's a mission for him now because of how they treated him in his first term. And I can understand that, but he's really toxic because of his mouth, number one, and number two is because of the fact that how he responds to the media. So he did. I liked his policies, but his mouth was so big, it kind of really eclipsed his policies, and that's a problem. Yeah. That's a problem. So I will go for DeSantis.
And you brought up something interesting yesterday because you said, Trump doesn't owe anybody any favors. Now to find somebody, a politician who doesn't owe somebody something, okay, is going to be hard to do. I can't think of somebody other than Trump.
Kamala's already paid everything back. Orally.
Yeah.
Well, our country's doing amazing right now. If you were to ask Biden, so I don't. What's your guys' problem?
It's just man. On the Democrat side, I think it's going to be Gavin Newsom. Well, I'll preface that.
God.
I think it's going to be Gavin Newsom if Kamala steps aside.
Yes.
I don't think she is though. She's not. She wants attention.
No,
I think it's crazy that Gavin Newsom, and you're right, Gavin Newsom, because he looks the part. Gavin Newsom couldn't even keep his own state under control without them trying to vote him out. It's to me, it's mind-boggling that he might be the pick for that party to show how low the Democratic Party is. To think that he might be the one that comes out of there is almost laughable, and I'm actually okay with that because there is no chance he would win on a national level. No chance.
Friendly reminder: Gavin Newsom is Nancy Pelosi's nephew.
Truth.
Yeah.
So they're really good friends, and they know each other, and that's going to set up a lot of what you're talking about.
And you know who Gavin Newsom's ex is, right?
Oh
yeah.
Kimberly
Trump's which one?
Don Trump Jr.
Is
Trump
it Don
Jr.? Girlfriend.
Yeah.
Junior? Yeah.
Girlfriend, wife, whatever.
It's scary, but if you look at all the politicians, for example, I see Stacey Abrams. You have a whole bunch of other people to consider.
She's going to get slaughtered in Georgia.
It's disgusting. All of the politicians we have. Rand Paul is one that I don't mind him, but I would like to see him go. He's been in there too long. Mitch McConnell is one with them.
The turtle.
Lindsey Graham. All of them.
Lindsey scam. Yeah, I got you.
All of them need to go.
But I'm going to so I see that's the problem with and I'm with you on term limits. But since there isn't term limits, I think somebody like Rand Paul is a perfect example of he'd be the example of why there shouldn't be term limits. He constantly fights back. And now I had Brian Artis on Blunt Force Discussion a couple weeks ago. He had an interesting point. I did not know this because he fights so hard about Fauci. He thinks it's theater. Because the one thing you'll hear Rand Paul talk a lot about the vaccine, but you'll never hear him talk poorly about remdesivir. I did not know this, but him and his wife pulled a Pelosi and did a little insider trading right before shit hit the fan, and they put their life savings in Gilead Sciences, which is
they did.
That's why they all need to go.
Yes, they did. It says Trump does owe big people favors through. He has millions of loans. It's called real estate.
Yeah. I don't think he understands how business works.
He doesn't. He struggles. He struggles with just flipping his burgers at McDonald's, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we're at an hour and a half, guys. We're at 90 minutes.
So what do we got left?
Nothing. We hit all the topics.
We didn't hit secession. We missed.
I skipped it, but we want to touch on that. We can touch on that real quick.
I think we can touch real quick because I think it's an important topic. Because I know a lot of people are pro secession. I'm one of them, but I'm also a realist at the same time.
Let's hit it. You go. Start it off, Russo.
So secession. So actually, help me out, Kaecey. What are all the states that actually have in their state laws that they can secede?
You're going to ask me all of them. There's 13 of them, but I can tell you, Texas, Utah, Idaho, Wyoming. Then you have Kansas and Nebraska for sure. Those are all ones that are considering secession. Now, Wyoming's the weird one in the mix because it's got Liz Cheney. I don't see why that is, but we'll have to see. But there's no real action being taken. It's a lot of talk and a lot of people living in these states that want it, or at least are talking about it. So is it feasible? I don't know, but there's a lot of people in these states talking about secession from the United States.
I was just asking for the states, Kaecey, but whatever. And by the way, real quick, Grant, I was just kidding with you, Kaecey. By the way, that's called a bank. Anyways, I don't know. I think he thinks that it's like some loan shark on the street that works for Pfizer. He's like, all right, I want to buy a building. I need you to really hook me up with about 1 million shots of the juice, and we make a trade. That's not how life works. Anyways,
I would say, Grant, what are the favors? And go.
Waiting.
How old do we think? Do we think Grant is like 16, 17?
I don't know. I'm dying to know though. That's one of those things. I wish
to invite Grant on the show, so I can smash him.
We've
invited him so many times because he said he wanted. It literally there's a few things I want in life. One is I wish I could have a full conversation with my dog. 2, I wish I could understand women. 3, I want to know what Grant Bull looks like in real life. That's the 3.
Can I answer this question?
Yeah.
On taxes.
Oh, geez. Why won't he release the taxes?
I was hoping you would.
Grant. Oh my God. You understand tax returns show nothing? They show nothing. What shows the viability of a business is something called an income statement and balance sheet. So if you got the tax returns, it will show you nothing. And let's move on.
Okay. So secession. So the whole concept is like Kaecey would say before. I wish I could secede from Grant State. But the whole idea is the fact that we could almost form our own militias, leave the United States of America, kind of be on our own. There's a lot of positives to that on paper. There's also a lot of negatives. And one of the things when we were talking that I brought up is that necessary there, diesel owner? Yeah, guzzler, climate change hater. Sorry, you guys probably can't even hear it, but it's
says the guy driving a Tesla.
Right.
Right now, I got an F-150 right now. I got Kelly's F-150. I'm a man for a day.
You drive a girl's truck.
She's got a 352. Moving on. Anyways, not important. But the whole concept is that in Texas, to me, that's a threat. As great as it sounds, and even though I put it on the Truth Will Set You Free page, I think it's hilarious to think about the fact that we could leave and we've got our own militia, we've got our own supplies, we have our own resources, which is a double-edged sword. And this is where I'm going to talk about. In the area leading into New Mexico, but the bulk of West Texas, there is theoretically enough oil and natural energy to essentially suffice for the whole United States of America. So that's plenty for just Texas alone to live and survive. Now, that means that our militia has to be enough to hold off superpowers like China and like Russia, like all these different groups that could say, you know what, screw that, I want that area, and then we have to fight for ourselves, or then the United States has to come back, or then America, whatever, when we United States, then America has to come back and save us with their it is a muddy subject. I love the talk of secession, but I don't think it is actually feasible.
What do you think, LaDale?
Succession is a great concept, but do I think it'll work now? No. Like, for instance, Texas, when I actually ran for public office this year for Texas House, I got to sit down with the Lieutenant Governor, Dan Patrick, for about 20 minutes. We had a great discussion, a lot of political leaders, senators, and current members of the House as well. Texas actually has a lot of trade deals, international trade deals, when it comes to natural gas. Also, when it comes to one of the biggest contracts, I believe, is technology with the state of Israel, which was interesting, which is cool. But I think that when it comes to succession, it may sound good in concept and maybe even trade, so to speak. The problem is when it comes to the military force. I think if succession is not done the proper way, you're an easy target for a country that can come in and destroy you, like a Mexico, like a Russia, like a Canada. I don't think Canada would do that. You have whole countries that can come right after you, because now you're responsible for your homeland security, your border patrol, law enforcement as well. When it comes to individual cities, there's a lot that goes into succession, and I don't think that's the proper thing to do right now.
Okay, I get that. Mo?
I agree with all that. I don't have anything new to add to that. I agree with what Russo said and what LaDale said. Yeah, I like the concept of it. The thought of it would be really badass if we did it, but the reality, I think, is a little bit different.
Okay. Well, I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach because I actually do believe it can happen. We have seen already a country do it within the last few years, and that is the UK or Great Britain from the European Union. There's a lot to learn from in their experience. Like, for example, like we talked about in our team meeting before, is they didn't think about pharmaceuticals because all the pharmaceuticals came from the European Union, and they didn't know how to actually get them when they were actually succeeding and they were gone. And we could take some of those things and learn from them and work on it. Now, is it easy? No. It's a work in progress. It's not done in 30 days. It's not like some of the other things that we're used to and Amazon delivering something the same day to us. No, it takes a while. But I do believe that there is an opportunity for people that have a very different view than, for example, most of us on this panel, all of us. We are all pretty like-minded. Now, the people that are very against us, Grant included, if we wanted to create our own country and have our views in our own place, why can't we do that and then have what they want and just give them their part of the country? Why can't that be done?
I can see that, but the systematic approach is what I'm kind of highlighting on.
Sure.
That's such a big shift. Do we actually, just like when it comes to right now, the government, really the left, trying to push us into this solar panel garbage, this green energy garbage. Green energy, its true meant is to be supplemental, not the main source, because we're swimming in oil or natural gas. That shift over to another system that's not prepared. That's what I'm saying is we're not prepared for that shift over when it comes to a country succeeding from the union, if that makes sense.
Oh, you're muted, Kaecey.
We can't hear you, Kaecey.
I'm sorry. I didn't unmute. The thing that I don't understand why I think these conversations could happen when we're talking about our country, and secession is actually at the highest in polls. I don't like polls because they can be manipulated digitally and all of those things, but we've never had this high of rate of people talking about it until now. And so if we have this division in our country, why can't we talk about secession and letting people that want their certain views have their views and do their thing, and we can have ours? Because right now it's a right and a left opinion, right? There's not really people that are in the middle ground.
I agree with that. That makes. I mean, you can always think about how to make it work, but during that time of thinking about it and dialoguing about it, put something together to where if the country becomes too tyrannical, you can actually implement that fairly easy. So there's an easy shift from a currency standpoint, banking standpoint, from a military standpoint, entire system standpoint. That's why when I was running, I was saying Texas should have their own homeland security division with the power to deport, and our own border patrol as well also. And initially, the Attorney General was like, we can't do that because he was really holding on dear to the U.S. Constitution. And I can understand that. But whenever your federal party is not acting in concert with the safety and concerns of the states it governs or partners with, you got to fight back.
Exactly.
Fight back.
Your state's got to take back control and protect the state itself. You shouldn't have to worry about the federal government to do it for them.
Mm-hmm.
Russo, Mo, you guys got any strong opinions on what we just talked about?
No, I stand by what I said.
Good stuff.
Thank God Russo doesn't wear the sunglasses anymore. It's too dark.
Hallelujah.
Wait for the sign off, bitch.
He's about to put the stunner shades back on. Oh, man.
Off, guys. So I don't know what he.
Oh, what did Russo go? Was it the internet again?
He rage quit. Grant, is that you?
It is Grant.
That's how I imagine Grant.
It's all good.
Well, let's wrap it up, guys. We just kind of Russo, you want to tie it up, and then we can go through everybody else.
Oh, I'll tie it up, Big Daddy.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyways, so make sure that you've checked out Mo and I's episode. I know, guys. Blunt force discussion. I'm gonna have LaDale. We gotta have you on. We'll grab some lunch. Actually, I gotta shoot a bunch of shows at the end of this month, so let's get you going. Let's go grab some lunch and actually hang out. This is a heavy Dallas crew. I just realized right now. So, tomorrow, check out the Chad Prather show. I'll be on that talking about Truth Will Set You Free. Hopefully, I'll get to mention Cash a couple times. I don't even know what we're talking about, but I'm excited to go on the Blaze Studios and hang out a bit. And that's about what I got going on. Make sure you check out our gear at awakenotwokestore.com for Awake for 15% off. That's all I got, I think.
What time are you going to get there tomorrow so I can meet you before you go in?
So I'm going to get there at about 10:45. He gave me instructions on what entrance to enter and stuff like that. I got to figure out when Kelly's going to meet us over there as well. So
I'll meet you in the parking lot. So I'll get there like at 10:30.
I'll meet you in the parking lot, sandbag son of a biscuit. Yeah.
I'm gonna wax him. I'm
gonna show you my back. It has got some dimples going on. Kelly's like, nope, no more waxing.
This is going south real quick. LaDale, tell us about you and what you got going on in your world.
Well, guys, you know my first and last name. You are welcome. I've been acquiring a lot of real estate and nationwide, buying a lot of silver as well. So what I actually talk about, I actually do. It's not a theory. I'm actually doing a lot more teaching as well when it comes. People have been asking me to come up with a real estate course, which is fine. That's almost done. It's for anybody that either wants to be a passive investor or an active investor on day-to-day operations to invest in real estate. And so we're coming out with a real estate fund as well for those that want to partner with us as well, because we get access to all those juicy below wholesale deals. And if you want to follow me, you follow me on YouTube, of course, Facebook, Instagram, guys. I put out content every day concerning financial and real estate as well. My whole thing is to increase the knowledge of individuals so they can make good, wise decisions in life and in their finances. That's it.
Hey, LaDale, if I could ask you for a piece of advice, yes or no?
No.
Okay. All right.
Do we really?
He clearly doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
We have to answer that question. Like that, you already know.
Y'all, I'm sorry.
Okay, but really, do you think I go for tomorrow's show with Chad? Do I go back to just mustache, or do I keep the 5 o'clock shadow with mustache?
I kind of like the 5 o'clock. Why are you asking the guys? You should be asking the woman.
Ask your wife, man.
Kelly does not like any of it. So I don't even know why
Really?
she's with me, to be honest.
Hey man, cut it off then, player.
But I thought she told me that you look weird without any facial hair.
No, actually, she
Yeah.
only likes 5 o'clock shadow. But the mustache, I feel like I need a thing. So I feel like since I don't have any talent, I figure that the mustache brings the talent that I'm missing.
So we get it. He's compensating. So we get that now.
Oh, we haven't even started talking about the other reason I'm compensating. Okay. Sorry. We go off the rails at the end of the shows when I'm here. Sorry.
Mo, what do you have going on in your world?
Well, we talked about that at the beginning, but I'm going to go see Russo film the Chad Prather show tomorrow. So I'm super excited about that. In August, I got invited to the Uncle Tom 2 premiere by Corinne and Brandon to be their guests. So I'm excited about that. This will be the second year in a row that I get to go with them. So I'm super excited. I've got a lot of stuff. Like, it's just a big blur. Oh, I'm going to do an interview probably on Megan McGlover's show. So if you guys follow Megan McGlover, I'm going to do an interview over there as well. We're working on that. She was like, girl, why didn't you call me? And I'm like, I don't have your number. How am I going to call you? So anyways, but yes, follow me. I did go in the description box and our links were missing. So I put them in there. The link to the full 1 hour Uvalde video is down there as well. Follow us all on social media, Patreon for #BeTheChange. Russo, when's your next interview and who's it with? Are you dropping an interview?
So I got sorry, I forgot to mention that. So this week I am interviewing, I don't know what order, because I'm actually trying to have a Roe versus Wade conversation too. So I don't know, I'm trying to stack both in the same day. And I'll come out separate weeks, but I'm having Jordan Nelson. He is an ex-Kansas City police officer and he works in a human trafficking. He's a human trafficking expert out of Dallas, but he is a guy that retired from the police force in Kansas City, got actually a lawsuit against him 6 years later because the ACLU was looking for shit. And he didn't kill the guy. He slammed him down too hard and they sued him directly. It was a nightmare. So we're going to talk about that story this week. And we're going to talk about policing across the board. And then Marie Cosgrove is either going to be a solo guest or we are going to have what Emmanuel Acho failed at miserably. We're going to have two pro-choice, one pro-abortion, one pro-choice, and two pro-lifers on a panel, and I'm going to make that a Blunt Force discussion as well. And if you do want to support Blunt Force discussion, it's patreon.com/Blunt Force discussion. So,
yes, make sure to go and support Russo and his habits.
Yes, just Russo, not the habits. Russo, not the habits.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unlike Hunter's habits, very different.
But always, likewise, like with everything we do, guys, just keep us included, and with Truth will set you free. Share all of our stuff as always. But we love having you guys around. It was a great show tonight, and we'll see you guys later.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, guys.
Peace.
Look at that suit.